just sitting here talking about the things that I think can save America. And as you guys know, I don't do this show very regularly at the moment, but I'm actually transitioning into a new studio. And so things are going to be looking up, I think, very shortly. However, I still have things to say. And as I was perusing X today, I realized I saw the all of the consternation over the attack. I'm using quotes on Ilhan Omar last night, and I want to talk about this. I don't know. I'll look into X while I'm talking. I have no idea how this story is developing. I'm just going to give you my initial reactions of it. Here's what I think: it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And I've been telling you this on this podcast since Charlie died, right? What did I tell you? Go back and listen, okay? Just a few. It's not much to listen through. Go back and listen. And when the Jimmy Kimmel thing happened, and everybody was canceling their Hulu, and they were out there the leftists were out there marching and all that stuff. What did I say? I said they need a martyr. They saw that Charlie was a martyr. They didn't expect that. They thought you cut off the head of that snake and the rest of the body would die, and it only made us stronger. Of course, they didn't expect Charlie to be martyred, and they realized, well, we need that. That's what we need. We've always had these galvanizing moments. Democrats are good at that. That's civil rights 101. You have a galvanizing moment, and it pulls together a community, a crowd of people, and it creates a lot of power, a lot of influence. Fair enough. I mean, it's not for nothing. And they wanted that, but they're cowards. So they're never going to put themselves in a situation to actually be martyred by someone, because they're all cowards. They don't do what they do on principle. Charlie was doing what he did on principle. They don't do that. They're all cowards. Best they can do is give you a late night host who's going to miss $1 million paycheck 1 month and go, oh, what a martyr, right? So that's the formula. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a martyr, but they don't want to work for it, right? They don't want to put themselves at risk. And so all of this ICE activity in Minnesota, all of that's been a distraction from the fraud. And that's what this Ilhan Omar thing is too. I call bullshit. I'm sorry to keep cussing. I know some of you don't like it when I do, but there's no other word for this. I call bullshit. I'm making that prediction now because Charlie Kirk is dead. The president was almost assassinated twice that we know of. The ICE officer in Minnesota who killed that young man at the riot had his finger. Well, I don't know if it was that same agent, but one of those guys had his finger bitten off. That the woman in Minnesota who tried to run over the ICE officer with her car, she's dead. Like, people are dying, right? People are getting hurt. And Omar gets sprayed with water. I call BS. Now, she got sprayed with acid or got sprayed with some other strange substance that she had been attacked, if that guy had lunged at her. You notice that guy didn't do any of that. By the way, go find out what happens to him. Because you know what happens to people in the state of Minnesota who attack political figures or people who are engaged in political activity? Nothing. So go find out what happened to this guy. I'd be curious to know how long he stays in jail. Either is he going to stay in jail a long time? Because already that's a violation, right? That's hypocritical, because Minnesota has their social justice reform programs going on, and they let criminals out all the time. They let all their BLM people out, So already that would be hypocritical. But then but it would also make me wonder why he's not out so quickly, what he might have to say if people found him. So keep an eye on what happens to him. Keep an eye on where he goes, if he's in jail for very long. This just happened. I don't know. But then also, is he going to be let out quickly for attacking a politician? Because we wouldn't want that to happen. I think they've painted themselves into a corner with this one too. And I think that's what President Trump means when he says we're going to do a full and honest investigation of this one guy's shooting. I don't think he means, I'm worried that the ICE agents were out of their, were acting outrageously or acting out of their purview. I don't believe that's what he means. Could be. I don't believe it. I believe what he means is that this is all connected to a bigger effort, a bigger war effort on the left. And we're going to do a careful investigation to see exactly what that young man was doing there. I mean, he showed up at other riots. These people are very connected and extremely organized. It's a war. It's a war. I keep saying it. This is what I'm going to be saying all 2026. It's a war. That brings me to this stream today. I'm so sick of Panicans. I logged into X this morning and saw all of the, like, not all of them, but tons of my favorite conservatives, some of my friends out there go, this is outrageous. This needs to be investigated immediately. I'm not saying you shouldn't say anything. I guess why, some people, you need to be on the record. When the day that Charlie was shot, I was online immediately when it happened. When we got the news, I was online, not because I wanted the clicks, but because I felt it was important to go on the record in the immediate moments following something that was really like world changing. So I get it. I guess some people feel like they got to be on the record. I don't feel particularly pressed to express outrage over this. And I'm done both sidesing everything. I'm done with it. And I'm done with the panicans. I'm done with the people who can't see more than 6 months ahead and don't understand that President Trump, what he's doing, he's trying to change he's trying to change our entire culture from top to bottom. And that, yeah, it does require shaking things up and making people uncomfortable. And it does require enormous compromise and vision. And I'm afraid that even a lot of Republicans don't have a lot of vision. Even a lot of people who call themselves conservatives don't have a lot of vision. There's a difference between a soldier and a leader, and a soldier sees 6 months down the road, and the leader sees 60 years down the road. We need leaders, and a lot of you are soldiers. We need you, but we also need leaders. We need people who understand what's happening, who understand that this is a coordinated effort that's taken 50, 60, 70 years to get here. We have 3 to beat it. And that means we're going to have to do some things that make you uncomfortable. You don't like how ICE is operating out there? Grow a pair. Have you looked at what they're up against? These aren't soldiers. These are officers of the law. And they're being required to act as soldiers. And they're fighting soldiers. President Trump is putting them on front lines. They are facing soldiers. These people are not protesters. They are soldiers. And that's why they don't care. They don't care. They tell those people, they meaning the Antifa crowd, they don't care. Those are just bodies. They send them out there and they tell them, I think they told those people that ICE agents don't carry real ammunition. Renee Good's partner, that woman, the video, she yelled, why do you have real bullets in your gun? We need to look more at that. I don't think that was something we should just wipe away as like, isn't she so dumb or isn't she crazy? I'm not sure that she was dumb. I don't think they're that dumb. They were smart enough to know how to get there and obstruct an ICE operation for hours. I don't think she was dumb. I bet there's some evidence. I'm going to bet there's some evidence that the leaders in these signal chats and the training that they give tells these kids that ICE agents can't hurt them, can't kill them, and don't have real lethal weaponry. And I think, and if that's true, that's got to be a case for murder. It's some negligence, murder, homicide, conspiracy. I'm not a lawyer or scientist, so I don't know. But it's got, there's more here. So I think when Trump says we're going to do a full and honest investigation, I think that's what he means. I don't think he means we're going to punish ICE agents. There can be no drawdown. There can be no backing off. There can be no signs of weakness. It's war. And it means even if the administration makes a mistake, they still have to go ahead with what they're doing. They have to double down in Minnesota. I think the president's starting to see polling And he's talking more about criminal illegals. I think he's trying to clarify that. And you know what? He can say whatever he deems is appropriate publicly. But privately, I think that the majority of Americans want these deportations to continue, and we don't want only the violent ones gone. We want them all gone because they're all part of the system. And that's what's happening in Minnesota. So I'm tired of the panicans. We need ICE reviews. We need to make sure that our professionals aren't, are properly trained, and we can't be like the left. We're not friggin' like the left, okay? We're not going to be like the left. They're absolute lunatics. We're not going to be like them. We're not like them. That's why we are where we are right now, because we wouldn't be like them. We refused to be like them. So we're not going to be like the left. So all you little weak, yellow-bellied panicans out there worrying about, we don't want to be just like the other side. We're not going to friggin' be like the other side. We're not like them. If you're worrying about being like them, you're not like them. And if you think and if you think someone like me is becoming like them because of the things I'm saying, you're not on our side. You're on their side. You're too weak to be here. Get out. Because what's happening now is nothing short of a revolution. And I'm not being dramatic. I know I say this all the time. I am dramatic, but I mean what I say. I mean what I say. This is war. This is a revolution. What happened in 2024 was a revolution. But we haven't finished the war. We haven't won it yet. And a lot of stuff has to happen. Here's the thing, it's got to happen all at the same time. So all the people saying, well, I don't know, we should be focusing on just the very violent. No, we should be focusing on very violent and people who have broken our laws. We should be focusing on Venezuela and Russia. We should be focusing on voter fraud and school choice. This is the predicament we find ourselves in. Everything has to be attacked all at once. There's a coordinated war effort against the American people happening inside our country. The president understands this. Unfortunately, a lot of panicans out there don't. And I think there's a lot of conservative pundits, especially, who feel they're more worried about how their liberal friends and family are going to look at them, how their liberal neighbors are going to look at them. They're more worried about that than actually prosecuting this war against anti-Americanism. Those are the people whose minds are still in pre-Golden Age America. And they think it's very important to present, as somebody who's like, I'm not one of the bad conservatives. I'm not one of the bad ones. And I'm over that. I'm over it. And I think you should be too. I'm so tired of the panicans. I'm so over it. Oh, let me take this down. I did my Christmas podcast earlier. I do my little wreath. Journey to Christmas Land with Amelia Hamilton. We review Hallmark movies, and we talk about all the tropes and the stuff that's fun in there. And then there's my book, Drawing Lines, Why Conservatives Must Begin to Battle Fiercely in the Arena of Ideas. I wrote it in 2022 and y'all didn't listen. So here we are trying to battle fiercely in the arena of ideas. And we got a bunch of panicans. Dog hair. It's pulling dog hair out. Do you guys have this problem? I have a white dog. I have a white short hair dog. That's just all this house is. It's just white dog hair. And the last white dog I had, I was like, I'm never getting another white dog. I'm never going to do that. And then my kids wanted this dog too. And now she goes everywhere. And she's just in my hair. When we travel, we always have, it's just such a pain in the butt. Love her. And then sometimes I think, like, does she know that she's really black? My white dog doesn't even know she's really black. It's cute. I don't know if she experiences racism or not. We don't tolerate racism in this family. Anyway, what was I saying? We're at war. I'm saying everybody put on your big girl panties, put on your big boy underwear. It's not friendly. It's not going to look friendly. It's not nice. Yes, it's fine if President Trump wants to give people the finger or go out there and call people names, because we are absolutely at war. And these are not normal times. And when he does it, I do want to talk about this a little bit, because we see Democrats and leftists, people like Gavin Newsom, using cussing a lot more. And I love VDH, Victor Davis Hanson. We're praying for you out there, sir. and wishing for a speedy recovery for you. But when he doesn't like it, he's very proper. It's so adorable. I just love him so much. And he is a very proper and polite man, and he doesn't believe that any form he would be very mad with me using the BS term in the beginning. He doesn't believe that any form of cursing is necessary, and he finds it to be very uncreative. He doesn't like it when the president does that. I This is one of the few points I disagree with Victor Davis Hanson on, because for some people it's genuine, some, and myself excluded. I'm not defending myself here. I'm not. But I am saying that sometimes it's sincere, and it denotes a lack of tolerance, which is, I think, is where we are. It denotes a lack of tolerance. And when you're so this is why harsh language is often effective with children, not cussing at them. Uh, I've met parents who cuss at their children. It happens. But not necessarily cussing at them, but at least being harsh. For this gentle parenting thing, I saw a boy kick his mom in Costco the other day, and she got on her knees to explain to him why he shouldn't kick her. And even now, I think there's a bunch of you going, "Well, Kira, you might be autistic." You're part of the problem. Let's stop doing that too. Let's stop making excuses for poor behavior around us. All right? We've been far too tolerant and far too nice about everything. Let's get back to where we look at that mom and point at her and either laugh at her or go, "No, do not let your son kick you. Never let your child be violent towards you." Women, especially if you're the mother of a boy, that boy's going to outgrow you. My son is a foot taller than me right now. More. He could beat me up if he wanted to, right? If we had a different relationship, if my husband and I were different parents, if he had grown up in a different way, you know what I mean? My point is that physically he's capable of dominating me right now. He doesn't have to listen to anything I say. He doesn't. But he does, because mentally and emotionally I dominate him, I'm in charge because I'm his mother always. So ladies, you cannot make your son your enemy. And by the way, men who don't respect their mothers are dangerous. The men who don't respect their mothers are dangerous men. And you do not want to be living with a dangerous man in your house when you're too old to kick him out. So ladies, start now. Start when your kid is 5. And when he kicks you in Costco, you kick him back. And you shout at him, because what that does is it causes that little jerk, that little, "Oh, mom's serious." So that's how it is in this house. And every woman knows the pain of what I'm about to say. I'll say the same thing over and over and over. "Nice. Can you please pick up that dish? Could someone pick up that dish? Hey, someone pick up that dish. Hey, next time someone's going by there, pick up the dish. Damn it. Pick up the dish." And that's when people listen, and that's when people do it. So it performs a function, and that's what it performs for Trump too. That's what it's doing for Trump. It performs a function, and it's saying, "Kids, I've had absolutely enough, and we're not doing this anymore." When Gavin Newsom does it, or the people on MSNBC do it, they don't understand passion. They don't understand sincerity. They are not authentic people at all, and they're not intelligent. Or I won't say they're not intelligent, but they're not informed. There's no there is what I'm saying. So when they cuss, when they pull those words out, of course it sounds weird and robotic and like they were reading a script, because they don't mean it, because they don't mean anything they're saying. And Trump means everything he says. That's the difference there. So I don't mind it. I also grew up in farm country and fishing country. I grew up in rural Canada, and I mean, that's just, they're farmers and fishermen. It's just East Coast fishermen in Canada. That's where Norm Macdonald learned comedy. Norm Macdonald, rest his soul, one of the greatest autobiographies. I'm using air quotes because it's not quite an autobiography. It's very strange, but based on a true story, I think is what it was called, narrated by him. Great book. You should get it. Listen to it. But he talks about growing up in Eastern Canada. His father was a fisherman, grew up in a fishing community, as I did. We grew up in the same area of Canada. And just how the fish stories were what made him a comedian. and how those guys told stories and the way they, BS at the end of every day. You know, this guy talks about that, but that's where no, that's sincere, right? That's sincere cussing or sincere embellishing, sincere storytelling. That's authentic, is what I mean. Might not be true, but it's authentic. And the Democrats don't have that. They don't have any authenticity. Nothing they do is authentic. And I don't believe that attack on Ilhan Omar last night was authentic. I don't believe it at all. And I know we're in this phase where we're like, we got to wait for the details or wait. I'm done with that too. If I feel like saying something, I will. Sometimes I do wait because I can tell I don't have all the details and I'm not. Sometimes I don't, and then I look stupid. That happens a lot too. I'm not perfect. I don't know if you heard, but I'm not perfect. But mostly I don't care. Guess what? We're all out here saying things now. And the left says whatever they want. And they get jobs and accolades and awards and money for it. And then when I say something, then they go, "Oh, Kira, you're just a shill for the right. You're tap dancing for that paycheck." It's like, damn, no, I wish. Y'all are the ones making the money over there. I'm slogging it still on my laptop at home. Like, if I was paid by the Republican Party to shill for anything, there would be signs, folks. There would be signs. And one of those signs would not be doing a sometimes podcast from my janky home studio in Southern California. You know what I mean? But everything with them is projection because that's how they are. Of course, that's how they do it. They sell out for the paycheck, right? They'll tap dance for the paycheck. It's all projection. And this is another reason why I think panicans just need to get on your big girl panties and shut up. Grow a pair, to mix my gender metaphors. Grow a pair. It's not pretty. It's not going to look pretty because where we are is very, very messy. And we didn't do that. But now we have to clean it up. And that means that grown-ups have to come in and make grown-up decisions and do things that cost people. It's not fair that we're here, but it's been costing us trillions and trillions, and it's been costing us our sons and our daughters for years. I'm even sick of describing these deaths and these ICE-related shootings. I'm even sick of describing them as tragedies because I feel like even that's a qualifier. It's a qualifier you have to say so that the other side doesn't think you're cruel or bad. And guess what? I don't care what they think about me anymore. It's not a friggin' tragedy if you wade into a violent police altercation. If you wade into the middle of a law enforcement operation, it's not a tragedy if you get shot and lose your life. Actually, it's highly expected. So I'm tired of that too. I'm not playing these games. Do you understand? These are all games. And every time that you get in the mud in the comments on social media, and every time you capitulate like that, it is a tragedy. I hope that justice, all your qualifiers that you want to give so that the other side doesn't think you're heartless or a hypocrite. Every time you do that, you're playing their game. And I'm done playing their game. I was done the day Charlie Kirk died. I know what time it is, but a lot of you don't out there don't, and that scares me. The panicans scare me. They don't know what needs to be. Our president is on the road right now doing a year-long town hall so that people that are not him can win re-election. Our president, who came within a millimeter of his life. This man is the most wanted man on earth. It's not just the leaders of other countries that don't like him. It's the leaders of the dark systems that we don't see and don't know. The people we don't know their names. The people whose entire career and family fortune is wrapped up in Minnesota. Is wrapped up in the halls of government of Minneapolis. People who live in Somalia, people who live in France, people who live in other countries of the world that we would never imagine. It's those people who have it out for Donald Trump. And what's he doing? A year-long road tour. That's a soldier right there. That's a general. What are you gonna do? That's what my book is about. The whole thing is about what are you gonna do where you are? I see a lot of you just whining about it, complaining. We don't things are getting bad. We don't pull back ice. No. Put more ice in. Sending Tom Homan to Minnesota is not a drawdown, my friends. You send Tom Homan places when you want to get business done. What's going on in Minnesota is the last stand against a president who has come in to smash the global order, the global world order. And Minnesota's the center of it. This is what you don't get. You don't get it. You think we're just deporting people. You don't get it. We're not just deporting the millions of illegal aliens who have invaded us, although we are doing that, and that needs to be done. We're fixing our voter system. We're shifting the unemployment numbers. We're putting more money in the pockets of our mothers and children who need the welfare benefits and the EBT benefits that they can't get access to right now. We're changing the education system. We're changing the notion of America, who it's open for and who it's closed to. We're fixing things. We're changing everything. So we're not just deporting those people. We're cleaning out a system that's been rotting for 30 years while everybody else took their eye off the ball. And we've got 3 years to do it. If you think that that's going to be comfortable or nice or easy or even peaceful, you're a damn idiot and you're useless. Please find your way out of this movement. You're dead weight. Go to the other side. Don Lemon and company invaded a church. That was very serious. We are not taking that. I mean, I believe the DOJ is taking it seriously. What I don't think is that the American public is taking it seriously. The DOJ, Harmeet, Pam Bondi, they've actually been out there screaming about how very serious this is. To invade a church in the United States of America, that's absolutely sacred space. Absolute sacred space. Absolute sacred space. Without exception. Case in point, the Obama administration and all the people harboring, there was a ton of NGOs out there harboring illegal aliens, and they were harboring illegal aliens in churches. And they were saying, there were illegal aliens living in churches. And there was we had a whole discussion. There's a big discussion about if it's proper for a church to hide a criminal, someone who could be a criminal or who is a criminal by virtue of crossing our border illegally. Is that the church's place? Is the government allowed to go into the church? Ultimately, we came to the conclusion as a society that no. And we felt that the churches were sort of cheating, but we honored that. Democrats honored that. Progressives honored that. They used the churches against us then. Now, the churches aren't sacred. Now they think they have a right to invade the churches if they feel the churches are engaging in injustice. And they're all frigging atheists. So how many churches in America do you think they think are engaging in injustice? I dare say all of them. So if you think it's okay to let this slide this one time, what's it going to lead to? By the way, we wouldn't, if they had marched into a mosque like that, the whole country would be screaming bloody murder. If they had marched into a synagogue, a mosque, or a mosque, really, Christians are the only people you can do this to. We would never allow it. We would be screaming bloody murder if this happened in a synagogue. Absolutely. We would be standing right beside our Jewish friends. Our Jewish friends should be standing right beside us as we scream about this church invasion. Also, people get shot in church these days. People get shot in churches. People get shot in schools. Should we really normalize a bunch of people bursting into churches and standing and screaming and scaring people? Absolutely. It's absolutely extremely serious what happened in Minnesota. That's a declaration of war. And you guys are whining about maybe ICE is being too aggressive. ICE is not being aggressive enough, but frankly, they're not soldiers, they're officers of the law. They're not, no, it's not enough. It needs to double down. And you fools out there can't see what's happening. Minnesota is not about ICE. Minnesota is about the fraud. And it's not just about the fraud of the American taxpayer. We may find out, my prediction is that we will find out that they have been funding international efforts around the globe with your money. We may have been even funding other entire governments, other entire countries with our money, with your money. And yet every tax season, or excuse me, every election season, your officials come to you and say, we need to vote a new tax. We don't have enough. We don't have enough to cover this program. And you might have been funding an entire African nation this whole time. That's what Minnesota is about. No, Ilhan Omar did not organically go from $15,000 in her bank account one year to 15 million the next. No, that wasn't organic. Of course it wasn't. You guys, it's so much bigger than the ICE operations. Like, focus, everybody. And none of this is a tragedy. What the tragedy is what's happened to you. The tragedy is what's happened to Jocelyn Nungary and Laken Riley and Irina Zarutska. The tragedy is what has happened to an entire generation of children who have had the American dream stolen out from under them by an elite class of globalists who care nothing for the American dream, nothing for the American taxpayer. That's the tragedy. The tragedy isn't Renee Good or whatever this guy's name was that just got killed by ICE, or any of these protesters. Every time you see them standing in front of a car, oh my God, the car's going to run me over. And they get so bent out of shape, literally, even sometimes when the car runs them over. That's not the friggin' tragedy. It's not a tragedy that this boy died. I don't think it is. He put himself, why are we calling it a tragedy? The tragedy is that we are to a point where ICE cannot do their jobs, where regular citizens are being treated like just numbers, bodies to throw out in front of a cause that does not serve the American people. The left-wing cause of anarchy. These are anarchists. So it's not a tragedy if you stand in front of a police officer, bite his finger off, and then get shot. It's not a tragedy if you try to run over a police officer and then get shot. It's not tragic. It's expected. I'm not playing these games, and I'm not using this language anymore. I'm not going to be a panican. Panicans, get out of the way. You don't see what's going on here. We're not just working to the next election cycle. We can't let Democrats win for the next decade. We cannot. They're out there broadcasting to everybody what they're going to do. They're going to put you in jail. They're going to put ICE agents in jail. They're going to put our law enforcement in jail. They're going to abolish ICE. They're going to open the border. They're going to arrest you. They're going to take your social media account away. They cannot be allowed to win. And you don't get it. You're operating business as usual. Let's get back to some diplomacy, or it doesn't seem very nice, or this is a little bit too aggressive. Get the hell out. Get out. You don't know what's going on. You're completely unhelpful, and I'm scared of you. Our president does, and thank God. And I think he is surrounded by people in his cabinet who understand the same thing. And that's why they're not very online like the rest of you. They do a lot of business online. They communicate online. I do get tickled at how President Trump actually disseminates instructions via Truth Social. Go do this, and then they do it. I think it's kind of fun. But a lot of these things, like, why isn't JD properly addressing the Candace Owens situation, or why didn't Rubio say XYZ? That's for us, the very online people. Those people are grown-ups. They don't have their heads in the social media culture all day long. They're actually doing real work. So let them go do their work. Okay? And if you can't help them do their work, definitely don't tell them how to do their work, because you don't know anything. You're scared. They actually know a lot more than we know. Of course they do. They know some of the really scary stuff that we're threatened with that we'll never know. They've seen behind the veil. And I think some of you imagine you know what it is, but I think most people have, and myself included. I think most people have No clue until you get there. The depth of evil that's there and what you're up against. And it's not as easy as one person coming in with their principles and snapping their fingers and just righting the ship. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Panicans, pull yourselves together. We're at war. We're blessed with a great general right now, but he doesn't need it coming and going. You know what I'm saying? Like, grow up a little bit. You don't need to apologize for Ilhan Omar. That was all a setup, and I don't care. I doubt it. There's much you could show me at this point that would prove to me otherwise. That was a setup, and I know because she didn't get hurt. She would have got hurt if it was for real. That guy got through security. You couldn't even get away with that at my GOP ladies club lunch, because we even the ladies post basic security these days. You couldn't have even got away with that there. So the fact that he got there, got up front with something to shoot, and then got close enough to do no. And you guys are all, this is a tragedy. This is a real tragedy. I'm so, I am appalled by this. I condemn political violence on both sides of the aisle. I condemn political violence on both sides of the aisle. But it's only coming from the left right now. Like, I don't even have to do that on both sides of the aisle. I can just say you shouldn't kill or hurt people because of what they think politically. I can just say that with confidence. I don't need to really qualify it. It doesn't need a left or a right qualifier to it. And that's another reason why I think the conservatives are out here qualifying a lot of things that are just basic sense. Like, it doesn't make you special. We all think lying is wrong or whatever. All right, I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat lunch. I'll get off here. Subscribe to all of my things. Scan this thing. It's super cool. Go buy this bumper sticker for $25. Put it on the back of your car. And then when your mom, if you're a mom in a car line at school and you have this bumper sticker on, if someone's curious and they scan it, it'll take them to a website that does pro bono representation in civil rights cases for girls and women who have lost educational or sports opportunities because of men. It's for a pro bono to help kids battling the trans insurgency here in the United States. So you have it right there. You can see it. And if you just zoom in on that and hit that QR code, I love this thing. Easy peasy. Like, it's not preachy. I have two on two of my cars. Again, I love this design for the car line mom. So it's not a message. It's just, oh, am I curious? Do this. And then you're going to see about all of the cases. The left is always trying to tell us this stuff doesn't exist, right? You see the hundreds of cases going on right now across the country involving young women who have had to go to court to sue for their right to play sports or to have a private room where they can change or use the restroom. This is where we are. This is why I'm saying we don't have time to do it the old way, and we don't have the luxury to do it the old way. We can't even be nice about it. That's how we got here. That's how boys got into our girls' locker room. We've been so nice. Been so nice. I've had enough. I'm not going to play their games anymore because they are games, and their last resort is to use our kindness and our principles, our values, and our righteousness against us. That's their last resort. I'm not falling for it. I'm right. We're right. We're on the right side of history. These people are insane. They're lunatics. They've lost the plot. They cannot be allowed to win. Bye. Follow all of my stuff. Follow everything. This is what I'm doing for the next year. Banging the drums of war. Telling everybody exactly what time it is. The time is war. X at Kira Davis. Instagram at Just Kira Davis. Substack JustKiraDavis.com. Go find the Enough campaign, or just scan that code there in the replay. Journey to Christmas Land, my Christmas podcast, super fun, and my book, and vote for Steve Hilton. Vote Steve Hilton, California. All right, peace. I'll see you later.